Today we got some breaking news around Hims and Hers. Novonordisk officially discontinued their partnership with Hims and Hers, and I'm going to go into the facts of what's going on here, as well as my personal thoughts on if I'm adding more or if I'm selling. That being said, before we get into this video, I just want to ask you guys to please hit that thumbs up button as well as that subscribe button as we keep trying to build a community here. So this morning, Novo Nordisk released a statement, and I'm going to kind of read it for you, and I'll put it up on the screen. That way you guys can see it. So Novo Nordisk is firm on our position in protecting patients living with obesity. When patients are prescribed semaglutide treatments by their licensed healthcare professional or a telehealth provider, they are entitled to receive authentic FDA-approved and regulated Wegovy's, said Dave Moore. We will work with telehealth companies to provide direct access to Wegovy that share our commitment to patient safety, and when companies engage in illegal sham compounding that jeopardizes the health of Americans, we will continue to take action. Novo Nordisk is deeply concerned and is continuing to take proactive measures to keep U.S. patients from knockoff drugs made with foreign illicit active pharmaceutical ingredients. Based on Novo Nordisk's investigations, the semaglutide active pharmaceutical ingredients that are in the knockoff drugs sold by telehealth entities and compounding pharmacies are manufactured by foreign suppliers in China. Now, I want to say it's kind of ironic seeing Novo Nordisk, Big Pharma, talking about standing up for the consumer when Big Pharma has not done that ever. So that is the first red flag I think that should be raised in investors' head is who's telling the truth here. And we're going to go more into that here in a second. But when I first initially read this, and I'm like, okay, they're pretty much putting out a hit statement saying Hims and Hers is taking advantage of customers and putting what's best for them aside for their own good and their own profits. I already had, kind of my antennas up of something doesn't sound right here, and I'm going to wait and see what Hims and Hers says about this. This was found by Hims House, and it was basically the VP saying that Hims and Hers gets their pharmaceutical ingredients from the same place Novo Nordisk does. So this says, in the active ingredient, the API is sourced from the same place that Novo Nordisk uses, so they have access to a supplier for their active ingredient, and these compounders have access to the same supplier. So, now knowing that, which still has some, who's telling the truth, who's not telling the truth, we would eventually get a response from Andrew Dudum, and this said, we are disappointed to see Novo Nordisk management misleading the public. In recent weeks, Novo Nordisk's commercial team increasingly pressured us to control clinical standards and steer patients to Wegovy, regardless of whether it was clinically best for patients. We refuse to be strung on by any pharmaceutical companies' anti-competitive demands that infringe on the independent decision-making of providers and limit patient choice. We take our role of protecting the ability of providers and patients to control individual treatment decisions extremely seriously and will not compromise the integrity of our platform to appease a third party or preserve a collaboration. The health and wellness of individuals always comes first. We will continue to offer access to a range of treatments, including Wegovy, to ensure providers can serve the individual needs of patients. And I enjoyed hearing this because, one, it kind of reassured what I was already thinking, is that it is the opposite, and this isn't me just trying to bandwagon off Andrew Dudum, but we all know, as far as Hims investors, the reason we got so heavily involved in Hims is because they were doing things differently than Big Pharma. They were putting the consumer first. So now you're all of a sudden telling me that the flip is switched and that Big Pharma all of a sudden cares about the end consumer and not Hims and Hers, and I just call blasphemy on that. And most of Hims and Hers products, they talk about, yeah, we can't FDA approve these because we're constantly compounding to personalize the solution for you, but every little different personalization that we do, we've gotten the green light from the FDA saying that, pretty much as close to an FDA approval you can get on something that's going to be constantly changing, but they've been given the green light to do this. And so that is why I'm siding with Hims on this, as well as I think this is a little bit of, and we kind of saw this in other reports, is that, and what Andrew was saying is, there was such a high demand for compounded solutions. And I think it was Novonordisk this morning on a CNBC report was talking about how they expected Wegovy to be, or branded Wegovy to be a better seller inside the Hims and Hers platform. And then when they saw that, there was actually higher demand for personalization and it wasn't their branded Wegovy gaining the traction, that's kind of what caused the plug. So it was almost just a failure on Novo Nordisk where they didn't calculate, I guess, the upside for them, and now they're taking an aggressive stance against Hims. And I think it's a little bit salty, and maybe there is a lawsuit to come, and with where Hims and Hers has been, standing their ground, and they've been standing it strong, I would not be surprised in the coming weeks if we get one, and that brings the stock down. But this actually reaffirms my belief in the company, because I wouldn't want to see, this company that I believed in, that I do believe is trying to help the end consumer at the end of the day, fold for Big Pharma, because the whole point is to disrupt that industry. So to see them stand their ground and say we're not going to back down and take this head on, I think that is very bullish. So I want to put in this video that nothing in this video is financial advice, but I do want to take a second to talk about what I'm doing to take advantage of this. This morning I decided to buy 3 more cash secured puts. 2 of them are at 45. I got a premium at like 160. So I made like 300 on that, and I will roll them along if as long as the price stays like modest in that area, just to kind of just take advantage of premiums for the time being. And then I did another cash secured put at 43, and I got a premium of 170 on that, and these are about all 1 weeks. I just did that one a little later on, so I got a better deal on that. And I'll probably do the same thing. I'll just let it roll on for a little bit, and if this week goes well, I'll probably let one of them hit as long as it's in that range, because I would not mind buying another 100 shares here. I have the capital to do so, so why not? And I did end up buying, I talked about in a previous video how I sold about $1,700 worth at $61. So I took the capital that I got and I swung it. I was talking about I was waiting for $45, so we were at $45 at one point today, and I struck. So I bought another $1,600 worth. So I was looking to take advantage of this because I think it fits with the whole reason I initially invested. And yes, it sucks. It feels like we took a step backwards in the wrong direction, because we wanted these partnerships with Novo Nordisk and, Eli Lilly. Honestly, I think maybe that's part of what stirred up the whole Novo Nordisk thing, is we low-key landed a great deal for Hims and Novo Nordisk, but then once Eli Lilly's like, we're not going to partner with you guys if you keep doing compounded, I think Novo Nordisk actually saw that and was like, that's actually a good idea, and then that's when they tried pushing Hims and Hers to stop doing it, and then Andrew here responds and says, no, we're not going to stop doing that, we're going to keep looking out for the end consumer, which is what I want to see at the end of the day, because we see, even with the current politician landscape, just their public opinions on GLP-1s is they're not the biggest fan of GLP-1s and Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly. So I think with Hims and Hers, at least, even though they're pushing it as well, they're doing it to try and get rid of side effects that these customers are feeling and providing them with the best solution. I believe that people like Kennedy are going to align way more with Hims and Hers if this were to go farther in a lawsuit than it is going to go for Novo Nordisk. And one's an American company and the other isn't. And I'm not saying, it's going to be an easy win for Hims and Hers, because it's not like Kennedy is the one who gets to rule on it. It's going to be the judge, but they will have influence, which is a good thing. So that's the little piece that I wanted to put out here for the breaking news on Hims and Hers. Let me know how you guys think this affects the company. So drop a comment down below, and if you guys enjoyed this video or caught it helpful at all, make sure you guys hit that like button as well as hit that subscribe button and become part of the community. I'll see you in the next video.